1511. The day Malacca fell, the door opens to the colonial era in Southeast Asia. Introduction. The Jewel of the East. In the early years of the 16th century, one city stood as the center of the entire Asian commercial world. It was a place where merchants from Arabia, Persia, India, China, and across the Malay archipelago gathered. It was said that over 80 different languages could be heard in its port. Gold, silk, pottery, and most importantly, spices from the Spice Islands all flowed here. This city was known as the Venice of the East. It was Malacca. But on a fateful day, massive sailing ships of a kind never seen before, flying flags with a cross emblem, appeared on the horizon. Aboard were fair-skinned, bearded men carrying gleaming bronze cannons and a burning ambition. Their arrival did not just signal trade. It signaled the end of a golden age and the opening of a new, painful, and turbulent chapter for all of Southeast Asia. Chapter 1. Historical context, the thirst for spices, and the mandate from Lisbon. To understand why the Portuguese traveled halfway around the world to Malacca, we must understand the context of 15th century Europe. Spices, especially cloves and nutmeg, were the most luxurious commodities, controlled by a monopolistic supply chain of Muslim and Venetian merchants. The desire to break this monopoly and find a direct sea route to the source became an obsession for the kings of Portugal. After Vasco da Gama's historic voyage to India in 1498, the Portuguese established the Estado da India, or the Portuguese state of India. Their strategy was not to conquer vast lands, but to capture key ports and strategic straits to create a maritime empire. Completely controlling the spice route, they had already captured Goa in India and Hormuz in the Persian Gulf. And the next ultimate prize, the most precious jewel, was Malacca, the gateway to the Spice Islands. Chapter 2. The First Encounter. 1509. Honey and Venom. In 1509, the first Portuguese fleet, under the command of Diogo Lopes de Sequeira, arrived in Malacca. Their initial purpose was peaceful, to establish a trade treaty. The Sultan of Malacca, Mahmud Shah, initially welcomed them warmly. However, the arrival of the strange Europeans caused a rift in the Malaccan court. The powerful communities of Muslim merchants from Gujarat, India, and Arabia, who benefited from the old trade system, saw the Portuguese as a dangerous competitor. They convinced the Sultan that the Portuguese had not come to trade, but to conquer. Heeding their counsel, Sultan Mahmud Shah ordered a surprise attack. While the Portuguese captains were ashore, Malaccan soldiers swarmed the ships. A chaotic battle erupted. Sequeira was lucky to escape with part of his fleet, but about 20 Portuguese soldiers were captured and taken prisoner. The first encounter ended in betrayal and bloodshed. When news of this reached the Portuguese in India, it planted the seed for an inevitable revenge. Chapter 3. The Wrath of Albuquerque. 1511. The Fateful Conquest. The man tasked with revenge and conquest was Afonso de Albuquerque, the viceroy of Portuguese India. He was a brilliant military strategist, a man of great vision, but also utterly ruthless and decisive. To him, Malacca was not just a commercial target, it was a strategic obstacle that had to be eliminated. In July 1511, Albuquerque arrived at the Strait of Malacca with a formidable fleet of about 18 ships and 1,200 men. He sent an ultimatum to Sultan Mahmud Shah, with 3 demands: the immediate release of the Portuguese prisoners, compensation for the damages caused, permission for the Portuguese to build a fortress in Malacca. The third demand was unacceptable for a sovereign kingdom. After negotiations failed, Albuquerque decided to attack. The battle was ferocious. The Malaccan army, though much larger and supported by fierce mercenaries, lacked coordination and had inferior military technology. In contrast, the Portuguese forces, though smaller, had iron discipline, were equipped with steel armor, matchlock muskets, and especially powerful naval cannons. Albuquerque targeted the city's critical weak point, the Great Bridge over the Malacca River, which divided the city. After a first failed assault, the Portuguese captured a large junk, turned it into a floating fortress, and attacked the bridge again on August 10th. After days of bloody fighting, the Portuguese finally captured the bridge, splitting Malacca's defending forces. By August 24, 1511, the city had completely fallen. Sultan Mahmud Shah and his court were forced to flee deep into the jungle. Chapter 4. The A Famosa Fortress and the Legacy of the Conquest. Immediately after capturing the city, Albuquerque ordered an act of symbolic and absolute power. He had his soldiers brutally sack the city, seizing a massive treasure. Then, he ordered the destruction of the city's mosques and royal tombs to use their stones to build a massive fortress overlooking the sea. That fortress was named A Famosa, meaning the famous. The construction of A Famosa was not just for defense. It was a statement of permanent Portuguese domination, a religious and military imposition on a great center of Islam and commerce. The fall of Malacca in 1511 was a watershed moment. It completely shattered the free trade network of Asia that had existed for centuries. The flow of spices was now diverted, sent directly to Europe on Portuguese ships. It marked the beginning of the era of European colonialism in Southeast Asia. For the first time, a European power had used military force to occupy and rule a territory in the region. Although Malacca remained an important port under the Portuguese, it never regained its Golden Age status as a free and multicultural commercial hub. Conclusion: the fateful gunshots by the Strait. The arrival of the Portuguese and the conquest of Malacca in 1511 was not just a battle. It was a clash of two worlds. On one side, the diverse Asian trading network based on commerce and treaties, and on the other, the new European model of armed commerce based on naval control and fortresses. The cannon shots fired by Albuquerque in the Strait of Malacca became the fateful gunshots that echoed across the centuries, signaling the end of one era and opening a new one that would last for more than 400 years, an era in which the nations of Southeast Asia would have to confront the ambitions and power of Western colonial empires. If you love uncovering the lost empires of Southeast Asia, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a journey into history's greatest civilizations.